The coronavirus has forced many educational institutions to abandon the more traditional classroom setup and teaching methods which have existed for hundreds of years. And because learners are no longer able to receive face-to-face lessons, communities are now looking for much more innovative and safe spaces to create learning opportunities. One such space is the internet, which is a host for many key educational players such as Zoom. Zoom is a telephony software program which allows its users to meet online. Today, Zoom has millions of users looking for services such as telecommuting, teleconferencing, distance education, and social relations. Which is why today we are presenting you with this video to demonstrate how effective Zoom is as a virtual classroom host. During this video presentation, we are going to look at how you can set up your own Zoom account, how learners can be invited to your classroom, how you can share your screen, how to mute and unmute on Zoom, how to turn your camera on or off, how to share activities such as PowerPoints on Zoom, how to use the whiteboard, and other features to take note of. We are going to be looking at how you can set up your very first Zoom account and what features you should consider activating before you send out invitations for your class. I'm going to go on the Zoom icon and click so that I can sign into my Zoom account, which is free. I will sign in with my Facebook account because I am not using the paid version of Zoom. And once I have that loading, I make sure that I have all the PowerPoints and Word documents that I will be needing for my class open right here on my taskbar, because this is going to be important later. Once you have access to your Zoom account, you can go right ahead to your home page where you can either start a new meeting or schedule a new meeting. There are several ways in which you can create a meeting with your learners. This is either by creating a straightforward new meeting with your learners where you click on new meeting and then wait for the screen to load before you are able to send a link to that meeting. And the other way for you to create a meeting with your learners is by scheduling a meeting beforehand and then sending that link to your learners. If you do not have a meeting scheduled with your learners, but you would like to host a class either way, you can go right ahead and click on new meeting. And then when your screen pops up, you can go to your information box or click on your information icon, and you will be able to get your invitation link right here, which you can copy and then paste that to your learners' message boxes, and they will be able to redirect to the class through that link. Once your class has commenced, remember that you will be able to view who is present in your class by going to your participants right here at the bottom of the screen. When you click on this, another box will show up to your right where you'll be able to see numerous people depending on who you've invited to see your classroom or who you've invited into your classroom. You'll be able to see their names or a picture. And if you do not recognize the name, that is probably because your learners are using their parents' devices, and you can ask them to go to their settings to change their name so that you will be able to recognize who is present in your class. Once your class commences, you will be able to do several things such as sharing your screen with your learners. And you do this by clicking on this green label right here written share screen. And when you share screen, you have several options where you will either be able to share your actual screen or you will be able to share several documents that are open in your tab, such as PowerPoint presentations or Word documents that you will be able to incorporate into your class, or you will be able to share by attaching those very documents onto the chat box so that your learners can download them and use them later on for further reading. We are going to click on this community story right here, and when you click on that and press on share, you will be able to see this Word document, and this is what your learner will also be able to see. When you bring your cursor to the top of the page, you'll be able to see that there's a box that has several options on it. There is annotate, or you can click on more, and on more you'll be able to see that there's an option for disable annotation for others. When you click on disable annotation for others, this will prevent your learners from being able to make scribbles or even add text adjustments to your Word document that you're sharing with them. And once you are done sharing that document with your learners, you also have the option to stop sharing, and this option is right here. All you have to do is click on stop share, and that means that the document will disappear from the view of your learner. You will also have the option where you'll be able to mute your participants, and this just means that you'll be able to stop your learners from making any comments or remarks during your lesson. And you do this by going to your chat box, and then you will be able to either mute all, or you will click on these three dots right here, and this will give you several options where you can either ask all learners to you will give the option to your learners to be able to unmute themselves, or you will simply mute participants upon entry, or you will allow participants to unmute themselves, or either allow participants to rename themselves. You will also have the option of muting your learners when they enter into your class, and you will do this by clicking on your participants box, and once you click on that, you will bring your cursor right here, and you can either mute all, and this will mean that you will be able to mute every single person that enters your class, and they will not be able to make any remarks during your class or try to, especially for learners who might attempt to disrupt your class. During your lesson, you'll also be able to use the whiteboard feature, and you can get access to this feature by clicking on share screen, and once this pops up, you'll be able to see that there are several options where you have a screen, the whiteboard, iPhone or iPad. You have several articles in Word document or whatever PowerPoint that you have open, and you'll be able to see that once you click on whiteboard and then click on share, you will have an opportunity to scribble, or you'll be able to add text to a whiteboard in the color of your choosing, where you adjust this on this tab right here, format, and your learners will also be able to have access. Your learners will also be able to have access to this whiteboard depending on what features you have set the whiteboard to. If you would like your learners to make comments or write questions, or maybe add any kind of comment to the lesson on using the whiteboard, all you have to do is go take your cursor to the top of the screen, and once this tab pops up, you go to more, and then you go to enable annotation of others. This means that you will be granting access to your learners to be able to either add their own drawings or their own scribbles, or basically to be able to write text on the whiteboard. This is a very creative and a very engaging way of just allowing your learners to be able to feel like they are part of the lesson. Although Zoom might present itself to be a very complicated application to use, they are very simple and short videos that you'll be able to find on other platforms such as YouTube, where you will be able to learn at your own time and in your own space on how to use all those features. One of the amazing features on Zoom is the recording feature, and that is the feature right here next to share screen that enables you to be able to record your lesson, and this means that you'll have material that you can share with your learners, or your learners will be able to rewatch that classroom for them to be able to understand the lesson even more. The recording feature is very important because some learners will not have access to the internet on the days that you plan on hosting your class, and by recording your classes or your lessons, you'll be able to give yourself the opportunity to share those classes with learners who either only have access to their cell phones at certain hours of the day, or only have access to the internet at certain hours of the day, either due to the fact that they don't have mobile phones of their own and would have to wait for their parents to return home from work for them to be able to have access to the internet, or because they simply do not have access to the data. You will also do good by advising them on the several data packages that are available with service providers such as MTC. And once you are ready to end your lesson, all you have to do is go to this red button at the bottom of the dark screen, and then you'll be able to end meeting for all. Because if you click leave meeting, that means that your meeting will be able to continue although you are not present. So we click on end meeting for all, and that means that you have come to the end of your class.